fickle, so unpredictable, here on the SNL Network.
Yes, hello everybody. Welcome to another edition of the SNL Network's coverage of week 1 of season 47 of Saturday Night Live. We started off the week with our hot take show immediately after the premiere with Owen Wilson and Kacey Musgraves. We then had our roundtable where we really got to dive deep into the sketches. And now I'm so happy to do our first patron feedback show. We have just started our patron community. You can find us at patreon.com/the SNL Network. And we have so many friends in the SNL community who want to podcast about Saturday Night Live. And I really wanted to find a show that we can do that on that made sense to do that. And I'm really touched with all the support that we've gotten over the last couple of weeks from different people around the community, especially from this guy who joined us right away and said he would love to come on the patron feedback show. So introducing Jamie Dew from the SNL Hall of Fame. Jamie, how are you?
I am great. I'm really excited to be here for the premiere episode of the patron feedback show. This is really cool. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Jamie, can you tell the listeners who don't know you a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I am a virtual lifelong SNL fan. I think we should start that, off the top when you're doing something like this. I've been a fan since the year after Lorne came back. So it was sort of a strange cast. They hadn't quite figured it out yet, but it was a lot of fun, and that was perfect for me because I was still figuring it out too. Why is this funny? And I've never been able to, walk away. Even there have been times where it's, like it's frustrating or it's this or it's that. But at the end of the day, it's like a Saturday night tradition. It's fun. It's, it's got its pulse on the or finger on the pulse of, sort of what's going on, so I can keep up on things. And yeah, I think it's just a great show, and I'm a big fan. So other than that, I am a podcaster and a learning and designing developer, and a mental health advocate.
Cool.
I have a podcast about Saturday Night Live, which we'll get into at some point as well.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm just jazzed to be here.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to talking to you, Jamie. And honestly, we're going to have a patron feedback show every single week with different really cool patrons. So come look for this. This will probably be on Thursdays on the weeks where there is an SNL episode. And it's a great way to wrap up the week, talk about everything that we learned from that week of SNL, and then start to look towards the next week of the show. So this is what we're going to do today. We're going to talk through, we're going to talk with Jamie, kind of get his feedback on what he thought of the premiere. And then we're going to talk through some social media. So what's been happening, I know a lot of our listeners, some of them aren't on Twitter or on Instagram or on the different socials. We're going to fill you in on what people are saying about that week's Saturday Night Live episode, including a lot of alumni. So we'll read out some tweets and comments and have some fun with that as we get through the show. And then we're also going to answer your feedback questions. We had some people reply to us with a Google form on Twitter and reply to a DM or Instagram story via DM to give us some comments and some questions, and Jamie and I will answer those today. So, Jamie, let's start our patron feedback show with you telling us what you thought of this premiere with Owen Wilson and Kacey Musgraves.
So, as succinctly as I can, I give it like a resounding C+. Like I thought it was a and C+ to me is a good grade. Like it's all right. You know what I mean? It was doing what it needed to do. I was really delighted with a lot of what happened in the episode, but collectively it just didn't add up to a B or one of the great A episodes that we can get sometimes. I thought the tone was set right off the bat as President Biden stepped down the stairs. I think we've got a really large cast again, and we've got a great supporting cast, a great group of featured players. like, it makes me wonder if there's going to be some sort of shakeup in the middle of this year, or a different time of this year, and they're going to jettison some of the longer term people later through this year, as like to let this younger third sort of churn through a little bit more or something, because like, really, I don't think they'd miss a beat. There were some really great moments by Cecily Strong this week. I just love when she's playing just like a spaz, and she almost adds that spaz character to every character she plays. When she was portraying the political person, I forget who she was, a high up in the Democratic Party, but I forget who the actual person was at this moment. But who that person was does not behave necessarily the way that Cecily Strong behaves. There may have been some, fun little insight, but mostly it was that spazzy type character. Anyway, I'm rambling again.
I think it was Kirsten Cinema.
That's exactly what it was. Yes.
Yeah. And she was playing Cecily in that one. But Jamie, would you say that C+ is kind of like this?
I don't mind.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. It's I don't mind at all. I will watch. Yeah, exactly. I will watch a C+ episode of Saturday Night Live till the cows come home.
Yes. Well, here, the good thing, Jamie, about these patron feedback shows is, it's probably like a little bit lower stakes than some of the other shows we get to do during the week. So I get to talk about, things that I get to hear through the grapevine and in our conversations with some people who listen to our show. And as far as I know, I don't think we're going to have any mid-season departures. I know it's something that seems like a little bit more obvious, considering that there weren't too many cast changes going into the season. But I think that it's been a long time since we've had mid-season cast departures. I think Seth Meyers is the last person to do that, like 7 years ago. So wow. I really think it's been a while. I don't think SNL likes it when people leave mid-season, so I don't think we're gonna get that. I would be very surprised.
Well, I would hope. You know what? I don't know why I brought it up necessarily. I would hope it doesn't need to happen. What I don't want to see, though, is I don't want to see necessarily every sketch with Kate. I want Kate to be more special now. I want 80 to be a bit more special. Like give those parts to Heidi, give those parts to Ego, give those parts to Chloe.
And I think we saw that in week 1, Jamie.
Yes,
that's what we saw a lot of. And that was probably like underrated. Like the main headline, JJ and everything he did. That was the storyline of the week. The second headline is, I like what they're doing with some of these people who weren't getting the shine in previous seasons. We saw Heidi have a really good first episode. We saw Ego have a really good first episode. And our friend Homstar in the chat, I see, says he thinks it's going to be he thinks it will continue to be a revolving door all season, like Kate being out. And I think it's a good point, because there are people with different projects. So now we have the opportunity to actually have people step up in those roles.
So what was I going to say? Oh my goodness gracious! I forgot what I was going to say. I apologize.
No problem. We have so much feedback to answer throughout the show, so you're gonna think of your points. No problem at all. Do you want to get into some social media from the week? We'll talk through it all.
That's what it was. Sorry, I was going to say Heidi not only had a good show, but she was supposed to have, based on if you're a patron. I don't know. Is everybody watching this right now a patron?
No. So this is open on the main feed. So we unlock this for the main feed as well.
Okay. But so if you're a patron, there is a special group that you can go to, and John revealed some of the sketches prior to the show airing, and Heidi was supposed to have a desk piece as well, so she would have had a really big show. But obviously that desk piece was cut after dress. So anyway, become a patron.
Oh, thanks. You're doing my job for me, but I appreciate that. Yeah, no, that is a really cool aspect, is that we do have a private Facebook group for those who are considering becoming a patron. You can join us. We put the dress rundowns in there, the cut sketches, who wrote what sketch. You're going to get a lot of info behind the scenes about what's happening at SNL by becoming a patron of the SNL Network. Let's get into some social media from the week. This is always really, really fun to do and to take a look at. So we had one of our interns, Hallie, put together a list of tweets and things that people put on social media this week. So this is how this is going to work, Jamie. I'm going to read this out to you. Let me know if you have like a little comment or perspective on things that people are saying. So right before the episode started on October 2nd, we had our friend Alan Zweibel, one of the cast members from the first 5 years. He says, really looking forward to tonight's premiere of at NBC SNL's 47th season, hosted by Owen Wilson, who I believe was still an embryo when I started writing for the show.
Yeah, I think that adds up.
Yeah, it's always really great to hear from Alan. He was one of the original writers on the show, was a cast member in season 5. So really great to hear from him. At Sarah K Silverman, so one of the 1-year cast members who never really made it on the show, but obviously ended up being huge afterwards. She is a huge fan of Ego Nwodem, who did an excellent piece on Update, Jamie, the Black woman who's been missing for 10 years.
Dynamite.
Oh, so good. And we had Sarah Silverman basically comment brilliant at Eggy Boom. So Sarah giving her best regards to Ego Nwodem as well. So I love it. I love seeing these former cast members give props to the new cast. I think it's like, maybe some people have been burned by the show in the past, but I love seeing, people on social media give their respects, and really shows like the family of SNL exists.
It's an institution, and everybody who's been a part of it knows that, right? They know that they were part of something pretty darn special.
Yeah, it's so cool. Okay, Taryn Killum, somebody who didn't necessarily have a great ending to his SNL career. So this is a little bit different, right? And then he says, what an impressive debut at NBC SNL by Shrimp JAJ, who is the James Austin Johnson, our new featured player. He's been brilliant for years and was built for the show. Congratulations. So Taryn Killum, I guess, is still watching SNL. That's pretty good to know. Of
course he is. Like he has to be. Like, I know you're a baseball guy, and I'm a big baseball guy as well. It just always, like, I draw such a parallel between baseball and Saturday Night Live for some reason. And I just envision Taryn Killum in a club somewhere, and JJ walks on stage, and Taryn Killum's just like, this guy's going to go to the show. Like, he's going to go to the show. I just get it. Like, he's got 5 tools. I can just see it. And, there's sometimes you just see people in their milieu, and you just know that they are going to make it. They're just going to do big things. And there's something neat about that idea, that sort of pastoral baseball idea with SNL for me for some reason.
I'm totally with you. I mean, look, I love going to professional sports games when before the game starts, let's say it's a professional baseball game, and they bring back like legends of the team, and they come in and they'll throw out the first pitch or something like that. So I can always, I know not everybody sees the connection necessarily between SNL and sports, but I think it's a huge connection, and I love seeing these people come out for it. Bob Odenkirk, who is a former writer on the show, who wasn't doing so well this particular summer, but gladly he seems like he's in good health right now, hopefully. Says as soon as Sarah was hired and James Austin Johnson was hired, he had quote tweeted it and said, "Big James Austin Johnson fan here. Wow, looking forward to seeing SNL again." So maybe we should have all looked to Bob Odenkirk for somebody who really knows how to pick them.
Well, have they worked together outside of that one episode of Better Call Saul? Or is that the extent? Yeah. Is that the extent of it? Because that's as far as I know, big shout out, right?
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine opening your Twitter feed and seeing like Bob Odenkirk? Oh man, I'm going to watch Saturday Night Live again because you're on the show. Like, wow.
Yeah. So that's a really big one. We have another one from Bob Odenkirk coming up in a little bit, but this one is from Jeff Richards, a former interview guest we've had on the show. He's a great friend. He let me just remove this patron feedback brand over here so you guys can see the picture. Here it is. There's a picture that he tweeted out. He says, from season 27, good luck tonight to the season 47 cast, hashtag season premiere, hashtag SNL. This is a great picture. Honestly, I don't know if Jamie, you ever look for old cast photos from different casts.
Absolutely.
But this is a really fun one of the season 27 cast from 20 years ago. It's really cool. We got Seth, Daryl, Anna, Maya, Tracy, Jimmy, Tina, Rachel, Dean Edwards, like so many great. That's just so cool to see all these people here.
That's just I mean, again, my sports bent again, and the Hall of Fame bent, like that's just like a bona fide Murderers Row, you know, like it's just absolutely bonkers how great that cast is.
Yeah. And it's really cool because you never know, like 20 years from now, we could potentially be looking at this year's cast and saying like, wow, how many all-stars did they have in that particular cast? So it's really fun to see people like that. Jeff Richards also has a great podcast as well to check out. Michaela Watkins. Remember Michaela Watkins?
Yeah.
So Michaela Watkins, she quote tweeted something that James Austin Johnson put out.
Wow.
Yeah, so Michaela goes, this guy debuted on SNL tonight. I mean, he's older now, but holy shit, this is good. And it's a video of James Austin Johnson from 2004. So going back, I guess, a long time, 17
Literally.
years. Yeah, and it's like, I think a 2-minute set he did in 2004. So we have James Austin Johnson basically dancing on stage right now.
Fearless.
Yeah, he's great. I don't want to get pulled off YouTube for music. So, but basically, we have James Austin Johnson. Those were his humble beginnings on at a school talent show, which I think was really he's really funny. The big question, Jamie, which I didn't know, which I just heard on that video, is James Austin Johnson, should be called Austin Johnson? I think that's what they said. Austin Johnson, please come on the show.
I didn't catch that.
Okay.
Wow. Well, I mean, because I do wonder like how you're supposed to, is it just like, if you saw him, would you say James or would you say Austin or?
Yeah, I don't know, but apparently when he was younger, they called him Austin Johnson. So I guess something we'll have to look forward to finding out if it's JAJ or just Austin Johnson. But yeah, Michaela Watkins would quote tweeted that one that James put up on September 26th. Yeah, he's older now, but holy shit, this is good. And yeah, he's very, very good and very talented. And we all should have seen it coming. So Lorraine Newman, original cast member for Saturday Night Live, Lorraine tweeted out this week, I have never seen such an impressive debut of a new SNL cast member like James Austin Johnson. He's superb, confident, and damn funny. Wow. That is high praise, Jamie.
She got to see 7 other cast members debut. And they were, among them were like Dan Aykroyd and Gilda Radner, but she also got to see Bill Murray like actually debut on a show that had already been established. So that is very high praise.
I think it's hyperbolic. I don't think she's actually saying James Austin Johnson had the greatest debut. I mean, like Daryl Hammond, Dana Carvey, like we've had some people with great debuts, not to take anything away from JAJ, but this is very high praise from one of the original cast members of SNL saying that.
That would be a great stat though. Mike, if you're listening somewhere, like some sort of weird weighted debut percentage, like what does that look like?
Yes,
I would love to see that.
Yeah, Mike Murray, get on that. Okay. Then we said we were going to come back to Mr. Bob Odenkirk. So Bob, who quote tweeted an article about SNL producer Ken Among retiring after 3 decades. So for those of you who haven't seen in the Goodnights, Colin Jost held out a sign that said, "We will miss you, Ken." And a lot of people didn't know what it meant. And Ken has been integral in the behind the scenes at the show for many decades now, communicating between the network at NBC and SNL to get things approved and different things like that to work on always on so many different aspects of the show. Ken has been so integral to that. And for him to be gone is a really big loss for SNL. Bob Odenkirk says, Ken is a great, hardworking, and kind person. Great job, Mr. Among. SNL producer retires after 3 decades.
Yeah, I mean, Bob was there for a while. He would know the people that are in the know. It also just makes me excited to hear Bob tweeting about SNL because Better Call Saul is coming up, and that would sure line up nicely with an appearance, from Odenkirk. Yes. That would line up nicely.
For sure. I think people are really looking forward to getting Bob Odenkirk back on the show one day.
Yeah.
So here, let me bring this one up on screen. This one is more of a visual one. Here we go. So this is from our Google Doc that we have all the information on. So this is Michael Che, who put this on Instagram this week. He said, so like I said, we had Colin Jost, who held out the sign and said, "We'll miss you, Ken." Che, being Che on Instagram, He basically uses Instagram as Twitter. That's Che's thing. He'll post something and then delete it pretty quickly after. He has Colin Jost with a sign that he's holding up that said, "COVID is a lie. No more masks. No more vax. White power." He will always find a way to make fun of Colin Jost. This was so great of Michael Che, who obviously is joking around.
I showed that to my 12-year-old who I watch SNL with, who for the premiere episode, her and I walked to the corner store and got some snacks before the show started. And then, as 11:30 approached, we opened our snacks and watched the show together. So she really likes the dynamic between Che and Jost. And I showed her the sign of this tweet on Monday, and she was dying laughing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we all know that Colin is all about
power.
So good. So then we also have a little bit. So we have Chris Red, current cast member on Twitter, says, "LOL, the people that swear they aren't watching SNL anymore always drop years on you like they did a real bid. I've been watching for